grandstand soon will be, as the last few patrons make their way into this famous old venue. And one of the men of the moment in the NRL is David Clemmer.
Yeah, let's see him fire up tonight. Was great in State of Origin too. There's not many bigger players out there, and the aggression that he plays with has just made him a special young front rower. And of course Trent Hodkinson will also line up for the Blues, and wouldn't he love a big game here? Get his confidence up. That halves puzzle still hasn't been solved by Des Hasler. He gets his start tonight, Hodkinson.
Josh Reynolds waiting for his chance, coming off the bench tonight. But he was terrific last week, despite spending 10 minutes in the sin bin against the Penrith Panthers at ANZ Stadium. Cameron Smith will get us underway. It is just like old times. Big time rugby league is back at Belmore. The Bulldogs get first use of it. And the tear-away young front rower, David Clemmer it is, to play it just inside the 20. Eastwood working it up, a gain of about 10, and the three-man tackle there. A different-looking back line tonight for the Melbourne Storm. Do the Bulldogs test them out early? They did that early last week against the Panthers and reap some dividends down that left-hand side. Hodkinson working on that right edge with Sean Lane in game number 3. Mike Clemmer so tall, so creative with the ball as well. We've seen that already. He has great hands and great footwork at the line. Greg Eastwood playing it just outside the Storm 40. It is quite a sight, that packed hill, isn't it? As Mbai puts it high in the air. Cameron Munster still in this role at fullback. It's his for the remainder of the season, with Billy Slater out now the rest of 2015 with that shoulder injury, and Munster will play it here for Melbourne. Richard Kennard getting in there for a carry in the orange boots and playing on the wing again tonight. And now the former Bulldog Dale Finucane bringing it back out towards the 30. Stopped there in a solid tackle. Chambers from dummy half as they try and work it away from their own end. Both these sides top the tally as far as dummy half runs, first and second respectively. The dummy half runs to this point of the NRL season as Munster has a good carry at the back end of the set. Gets them back into Dogs territory. Cameron Smith from dummy half will try and find the grass. He does that on plenty of occasions. This kick, well, it's a rare mistake from Smith. The weight on his kicks is almost always perfect. Gives them a 7-tackle set from the 20.
Yeah, big advantage to the Bulldogs with Cameron Smith's kick just trickling across the dead ball line there. As you said, was very often he gets it wrong. Pritchard carries the ball forward. You were just speaking about wingers and Richie Kenner for the Melbourne Storm. What a boost it is for the Storm to get Marika Korobetti back in the lineup. Has been outstanding. Spent the last month on the sidelines with a broken thumb.
Dogs keep working it through the middle as Hodkinson turns Lane underneath him with a good carry. He'll make himself a cult hero in a hurry here at Belmore in front of this crowd as Pritchard goes wide. Morris for Rona, the leading try scorer in the NRL, stopped just inside the Storm 20 by Ben Hampton. Goes to Pritchard at first receiver. Clemmer was up there, so was Tolman. Clemmer takes it towards them, still going. He'll play it 10 metres away. Well, one more tackle here, down the short side, by at the back, Pritchard, Rona under pressure. Grubbers! Morris is there. Brett Morris cleaning it up for the Bulldogs. Again, points created by this left-hand side attack.
It has been outstanding, the left side, and lead many of the competition stats, certainly with the ball in their hand. Curtis Rona hemmed in by the defence. Second man play, Morris through, Pritchard to Rona. Plenty of defenders there, and wasn't it a clever kick there from Curtis Rona? He scored 16 himself, but sets that one up for his fullback, Brett Morris, and what a hot start from the Dogs.
Just a good catch of a ball that wasn't so great from Pritchard, but Curtis Rona just makes things happen. In 2015, he's not scoring them, he's setting them up just as he did there, and Brett Morris just judged his run beautifully, held up, knew the kick was a chance of coming. It was on a dime, the kick from Rona for the flying fullback.
Well, they were ready for it, the Melbourne Storm, and they would have done their homework. And just how lethal the left side have been for the Bulldogs. And there was plenty of defenders there, but it's a way to crack even the best defence, get the kick right.
We'll wait and see whether Trent Hodkinson plays the entire game tonight, or whether, as it was against the Dragons before Origin 2, he gets a breather in the second half. His kick from out wide is straight enough. Flags up. Trent Hodkinson and the Bulldogs at Belmore. 6-0, Brave.
Yeah, guys, very loud down here. Rona scored 16 tries for the year. That's a try assist for Brett Morris. 4 tries in only 6 games this year. It's a well-balanced team with the Morris brothers in it, and a better team for that. He's already had an impact. Let's see if he can have some more as the game goes on.
He hasn't played much footy, has he, Brett Morris, for the Dogs, but you can just see the charge coming towards the back end of the regular season with most of their players on board.
Now building as Clemmer is here, charging through them. What a return! 30 metres off the kickoff and gets a penalty as well. He might be the new king of Belmore by the time this one finishes.
Yeah, his first run was quite handy, but this one was special, wasn't it? Bounces out of 3 of them. Chambers, Proctor there. Did a 180 and then just kept going.
Well, do you think playing Origin hasn't brought something extra to his game? And now Pritchard, as they're back on the attack already. 35 metres out, Leisha from dummy half. Comes across to Josh Morris. Ball there. Bounces up for brother Brett. And he'll be stopped there by Harris and also Smith, along with Blake Green. Hayden Tolman charging towards Finucane. In terrific form earlier in the season, Dale Finucane. But boy, reading this is making familiar territory tonight. Tim Laffey just outside the 20. We've got a couple of plays left in this set after scoring first points early on. Hodkinson goes to Sean Lane. It's the youngsters, the rampaging kids, doing the damage tonight. Clemmer began it. Lane finishes it.
Well, what a set from the Dogs off the back of the penalty, and that was because of the run from Clemmer. Sean Lane crashes over the try line after some terrific work from Trent Hodkinson. Takes the metres on offer. Leisha jumps out. Hodkinson gets himself to the Melbourne Storm defence. They're backpedaling at this stage. Look at Blake Green going backwards. Korobidi comes in to try and put a shot on Lane. He breaks through that tackle and carries Munster across the line. You could just feel something special here, right from the first run Clemmer made of the game, off the kickoff.
Try number 1 in the career of Sean Lane in the NRL, and from what we've seen of him, it has been a barnstorming beginning to his career, and there are plenty more to come. What a chance tonight in the starting side. Sam Cassiano coming off the bench for Des Hasler. They have just rocked the Melbourne Storm, and well, the locals, the faithful, they can scarcely believe it. They wanted to win, but this is incredible. Trent Hodkinson again from out wide. Chance to make it 12 points to 0. We've had less than 8 minutes of play. Kicking towards the famous train line. And it would have been right in the driver's seat had there been one coming past. Josh Reynolds watching on, waiting for his chance. Braith, he'll get one at some stage, but boy, what an opening this is.
Oh, great start to the Bulldogs. Melbourne Storm, on the other hand, third defensively in points scored in the whole of the NRL. Not a good start for them. The Bulldogs, Hodkinson down the short side. Good recognition from him to see on the 3-on-2. Goes to the line, and Sean Lane already had 2 great touches to start the match and a 3rd touch for a try. Beautiful work.
Well, they're at fever pitch here suddenly at Belmore. We'll wait and see what happens on this kickoff. They go to the same side. Clemmer's there once again. Here you go, Davey boy, revving up and bringing it back once more. Doing some damage, isn't he? What a run that was. One of the best carries off a kickoff on that previous one that we have seen for some time.
He burst through some pretty big bodies too, with Proctor amongst Chambers and others. The confidence he's brought from State of Origin 2 back to the Dogs. Shot from Chambers on Pritchard there, who keeps going.
He's off to the UK Super League at the end of the season, Frank, but intent to go out with a bang. The form he's been in recently. Now Perrott gets a chance. They are spreading it, punching their way to their own end through the middle, and then giving it a chance on the edges. There's Hodkinson back. Moses and By will put it high in the air, some pressure forward. Coming Kenner, didn't really get to it. Curtis Rona, though, was in front of the kicker.
10 metres.
Got the timing wrong there, but that was alarming. Richie Kenner coming towards the ball, didn't want to know much about it.
No, the pass went back from Hodkinson, who I thought he'd set himself for the kick. I think it was a surprise for Mbai to get the ball in his hands, and by the time Mbai got it, the outside Dogs had already moved forward, because I think they thought Hodkinson was kicking the ball. Only just offside was Curtis Rona.
Maybe a step or even half a step of Moses and By, but that was enough. Game number 550 here for the Bulldogs at Belmore Oval. The Storm get their first chance at the southern end. It's the suburban end, the houses end of this famous old ground. Smith gets out of dummy half, it goes towards Green, and now Munster showing it. Hanging on to it, he had Hymel Hunt, who's out there tonight in place of Kurt Mann on that left-hand side. Smith goes down the short side now. Harris holding it up. Betty was there. Harris will do well to stay in the field of play. He does that. They've got one more from the corner. Comes back to Blake Green. Doing all of the playmaking, or most of it tonight. A chance out wide. Comes back to Kenner. Trying to keep it alive. They'll wrap him up. It wasn't touched by the Dogs.
Where you are, back here.
And there'll be a turnover there. Find out from their own line.
Had their hands full there, the Bulldogs. Curtis Rona took a swipe at the ball, but really wasn't able to close it down. A near thing. Richie Kenner gets that ball away.
Together,
the Melbourne Storm might have been able to post their first points.
On board behind the ruck as they work it away through Tolman. They play just outside their own 20. Back to Pritchard, who went over the top there of Ben Hampton. That's a mismatch. He did well, though, Hampton going low. Leisha gives it to Tolman. Makes it up beyond the 40. Leaders have come to the Bulldogs pretty easily on their own end so far. Hodkinson, Eastwood charging hard. Lasby over the top, and the fans thought there might have been a penalty coming, and late in the piece, a call from the head referee. Watch it again as Eastwood, just around the chin there, wasn't a whole lot in the contact, but Ben Cummins says that's enough for a penalty, and the Dogs will keep the pressure coming.
He just thought he could split them there in between Lasby and Cameron Smith, and that saw both the Melbourne Storm players lunge high to take him.
Lafayette taps that the Bulldogs have already scored more points against Melbourne in this opening 20 than Melbourne have conceded in the first quarter of a game this year. A chance here to extend that scoreline as Eastwood will play it just outside the 10. Leisha waiting, going back into the short side. Hodkinson working on that right edge. He's late again. Perrott for the corner. Hodkinson thinks he might have got there. We'll need a photo to take a look at it and see what the video referee says.
Try. Can you check touchline and the...
Again, very hard to see exactly what happened in that corner, but Trent Hodkinson taking a lot of metres and getting to the Melbourne Storm defensive line. Korobidi, desperate. Oh, just keeps that arm inside. The ball just touches the in-goal area before the elbow hits the line.
Watch it again. The elbow stays off the turf long enough here. Got
just
it in
there.
his hands. Has he got control of the ball?
I don't know. I don't know. That hand looked like it did come away from the football.
Remembering the on-field call was try.
Just watch the ball move there. Looks like the hand, is it still on the ball? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. But if he's kept part of his arm there, because we had a situation like this with the Eels and the Dragons on Saturday night where the hand came away but the wrist stayed on the ball.
I'm going to take a look at it from a different angle here. This one might be hard to show us much. Might give us an idea. Well, obscured by Corabetti right there.
We're just going to try and see if they can see that. You really can't see whether the hands come away from the ball from that angle, and I guess it's hard to go against the on-field referee.
Green lights it is. 3 tries inside 13 minutes. What a homecoming this is.
Well, Hodkinson and Lane, who provided the Dogs with their second try, running that short side, have done it again. This time Sam Perrett's on the end of a Sean Lane pass, but Hodkinson's done remarkably well to get to the Melbourne Storm defence. Here it is, they shape to come left, and then Hodkinson takes the metres on offer. Little second man play out to Lane. He doesn't overplay his hand and gets the ball quickly to Perrett and gives him the best opportunity to get it into the corner. Well, I'm not convinced whether he's kept his hand on the ball, but the on-field ref has called try.
And I have no doubt that had it gone up as no try, they probably would have stayed with the on-field referee. It was hard to be conclusive either way. You go with the man who was closest to it. Green lights for Sam Perrett. Third try in 13 minutes. And now Hodkinson, who is striking them beautifully. Great kicking year last year. Hasn't been at quite that rate in 2015. A tough one from the sideline here. He misses, but it's 16 points to nil. It's hard to believe that scoreline, Braith.
It is hard to believe, guys. The atmosphere down here on ground is unbelievable. In the crowd, you can't, for the life of me, see a Melbourne Storm supporter. There is blue and white everywhere, and they are riding this Bulldogs team all the way home here. And it's been a great start for the Bulldogs.
There's a few Melbourne Storm supporters at the southern end, but they are very quiet, conspicuous at the moment. They persist in kicking off towards Clemmer, giving him some return practice, and this time they stop him just inside the Bulldogs 20. It is one-way traffic. It's Eastwood takes it up towards the 30.
15 minutes into the game, the Melbourne Storm have had 2 sets with the footy. Has been the practice with the Storm. They don't make errors, but it's very little football.
Now a chance again on this left-hand side. Josh Morris gives it back on the inside for Pritchard. He runs to Munster. And now the ball comes loose. He's allowed to pick it up and play on. No call. Here's him by, giving it to Tolman. Clemmer in the middle of the field. Gets to the fringes. Tries to link up with Lane, but he'll take the tackle there of Harris. And they've got one more, having just scored their third try, looking for number 4 on the last. And by kicking it across the field, a chance for the leaper. Rona, the kick is just too deep. Richie Kennar is able to bring it down securely. The Storm will work it away from their own end. As you said, Brandy, just their third set of the game.
Well, another great set put together by the Bulldogs, and the left side again breaking this Melbourne Storm defence. Brett Morris finding Pritchard back on the inside.
And Bromwich playing it for Smith. Harris. How do you dig yourself out of a hole like this? Stop the charges through the middle, and then on the edges as well. They're just carving them open everywhere at the moment. Not a deep kick here. Brett Morris takes it at his own 20. And then the chase was an ineffective one. That will really be grating at Craig Bellamy. It's one thing to be down 18 or 16 points to nil, but to have a poor chase off a kick like that will have him furious.
Against a ball carrier like Brett Morris. He is great to watch when he gets that football in his hand. What a handful he is.
One of the New South Wales Origin players will be back in camp tomorrow with the Blues. But preparing for game 3, the decider, Suncorp Stadium next week. Hodkinson, Lane. Hodkinson might have found a home, a permanent home, on that right-hand side. Leisha, Hodkinson linking with Mbai. They were flat on the edges. Rona, a better chance this time. Tapped it, maybe tapped it forward. It won't matter because Hampton has it for Melbourne.
They did well to clean that up, Ben Hampton, but again, the Melbourne Storm will work it off their own line. And the Dogs playing great pressure footy.
American Corabetti has missed 3 games. Broken thumb he suffered in round 12 against the Roosters down there at Amy Parker. Was it up here at Allianz Stadium, in fact? Here is Proctor going towards the halfway line. They'll play it for Smith. Goes to Bromwich. Support out there on the left-hand side, but just takes it forward. It'll be hard to get to ground as well. They need plenty more charges like that. Smith, play 5, going to Ryan Hinchcliffe. Good player, just inside the 30. They need something, some pressure at this end of the field. Green puts it up. Perrett's underneath it, going for it. Harris snapped wildly at it. Might have got a touch on it. Perrett comes up with it anyway, and it wasn't the end of the set they were looking for. Laffey to play it. Hodkinson. His work has been sharp, combining with Lane and Laffey and Perrett on that side of the field. Most of his time with the Bulldogs prior to the last little period on the left-hand side of the field. Clemmer playing. Leisha bypasses him by. Goes past Josh Morris as well. He'll pick it up. Set upon here by Hinchcliffe and others. They've got it at their own 40. And the worst set as far as metres are concerned for the Bulldogs as we've seen so far. But something about that in a hurry. Something out there was a nice carry by Lloyd Perrett. Fresh man on the field. Another huge forward they've got on this Bulldogs bench. The kick is a good one. Munster's in trouble here. Hodkinson gets the hands. Perrett finishes him off. And there are 6 more tackles coming for the Bulldogs.
Well, it might have been their worst set with the football. The pass behind Josh Morris really slowed the set down. And Trent Hodkinson, Moses Mbai just drops it on the left foot. Munster must have been in 2 minds about whether to make a go at that on the full, because you knew once it bounced, it was going into the in goal. It did. The chase was good up the middle of the field, led by Hodkinson. Gets enough of him. Lloyd Perrett finishes him off.
Righto, here we go.
A great result after a set that wasn't really going anywhere until Lloyd Perrett going on play 5. A bit of impetus. And about to get the ball back as Cameron Smith supplies the dropout. We'll go down to the halfway line and Mbai gives it to Clement. Listen to the crowd every time he gets the ball. They're expecting fireworks and he has supplied plenty. Hodkinson back on the inside here for Lane. The stop as well. It's just incredible the damage they're doing against this Melbourne Storm defensive line. Leisha, Hodkinson took a shot there for his trouble from Ryan Hinchcliffe. Gave it back on the inside for Tolman, but he bounced back to his feet, Hodkinson. There's Perrett, Lloyd running a long way and getting an arm free, taken to ground by Proctor and also for Nukin. Play 5. Leisha from dummy half, giving it to him by coming wide. It goes into touch. They had them struggling. Kennar was coming, he was stopping. Didn't know who to go to, and had the pass gone to hand, there was trouble again.
You could see Moses Mbai and exactly what he was thinking there. He could see Richie Kennar coming in. He knew if he was able to find Curtis Rona that there was space in front of him, open space. The pass just going astray. Well, the Storm are lucky that the Dogs came up with an error there, because I don't know if they were going to hold them out for another 3 tackles after the Lloyd Perrett run got them onto the try line, basically.
Wait here. Wait. Ball. Out. Out.
Oh, push in the scrum as well. Melbourne come away with it. Cameron Smith packing in there the lock forward position. But the Dogs trying to do it in every way at the moment. Hymel Hunt will play it here. Tonight, third man is Craig Bellamy adjusted his outside backs. Betty coming in, and Mahe Fanua also missing out. Smith through Fanuka, comes to Hampton, showing it. He's got some speed. He can show it right here. He got past Morris, dragged down from behind. And perhaps a try-saving tackle there by Moses and by Munster through Smith. Goes across to Green. Harris pushing up. He overran the play. The Dogs survive, and Brett Morris has it.
He's a danger, Ben Hampton, and the speed. He was able to break through a couple of Dogs tackles. Tracked down by Moses and by, and then it looked like an opening there because the Dogs' right side, Perrott and Laffite, come up past the football. Blake Green and what has been a very good combination between Green and Harris, just not able to get that one right.
Lloyd Perrott to play it. 8 on his own side of halfway. Goes to Tom, and they'll just work it forward. We'll wait and see what variation perhaps on the kick they put in this time. Perrott again, play 5, giving an offload. Comes back to Leisha. Will take it to the line, stepping, and By gets away from the tackle there of Will Chambers. Beating tackles time and time again. By to play it, 25 metres out. Hodkinson running to the left side. Off the legs there of Will Chambers. He touched the chalk.
Thank you, Bulldogs.
It'll be the Bulldogs who get it from a scrum feed.
Not much going their way, is there, for the Melbourne Storm? The kick from Hodkinson, ricocheting off the Melbourne Storm legs, and it was Ben Hampton that put his foot out onto Chambers, cleans it up, and the greasy surface just sees him slide across and touch that line with his right hand. And the 16-0 at the moment. The scrum inside the 20. They'll be doing well to hold him out. 9 runs, 118 metres so far, David Clemmer, and get ready for another one because he's standing at 5'8" off the scrum.
Isn't that nice? You're in the defensive line and you look up. One off the scrum. He's going to go 2 off the scrum now, with Hodkinson going to first receiver, but David Clemmer, no less. Out there, Harris and Fanuka in front of him. Hinchcliffe was also there. He'll play it. The Storm end 10 metres out. Pritchard losing his footing as he goes towards Cameron Smith and also Proctor. Chances either side. Leisha has the ball knocked down by Cameron Smith.
Smith, knock on.
And he'll say, Ben Cummins, it was Cameron Smith who contacted the arms of Leisha and not the ball. It's a knock on against the Bulldogs.
No, he's clever, Cameron Smith. Let's just see if he does get the arm and not the football. Leisha takes a couple of steps out of dummy half. Oh. Well, got the hand and the ball.
Just out the back, Ryan, thanks. Okay, let's go.
It was just on the left hand, the wrist, nothing else, according to Ben Cummins.
Josh,
little touch
bring Curtis as well
on the ball, as we saw there. A little boo from the crowd here, but boy,
let's go.
Hard to do anything at the moment given the start they've had and what they've seen.
Okay, hold the weight, guys.
Came here wondering, they're going to invoke the spirit of the Dogs of War or the entertainers. It's been a little bit of both so far. Forwards are like those forward packs of the mid-80s. That's saying something, isn't it? The backs have been like the entertainers of 1980.
Quite a combination.
They'll go a long way. They can keep that sort of combination going. Harris from Melbourne, just outside the 30. Smith comes to Green, looking inside, going outside. Hampton's there, very deep though. As a result, he was easily wrapped up by Pritchard and also Mbai. Smith looking down the short side, to the open side. Jordan McLean, who's had issues with hamstring problems so far this year, getting a chance tonight off the bench. A kick played at by Curtis Runner, who just has those octopus tentacles. I like to describe them as, and he reels it in so comfortably as he did right then. And then Brett Morris from dummy half trying to draw a penalty. The blue and white army wanted one, and now Josh Morris follows suit. And just like that, they're beyond the 40. And by it, dummy half goes to Tolman. Towards McLean and also Proctor. Long right-hand side here, a chance for a shift. should they want to. Sam Cassiano, though, first carry after coming off the bench. Had other ideas. He'll play it. So it goes to Mbai on the last. Grubbering again. Little contact as it goes through the line. Kenner picks it up. Bring it back to play it. Still short of his own 20 when he does. And it must be hard work for the Melbourne Storm. Every time they get it, they're inside their own 20.
Yeah, and they're playing great field position footy, the Dogs. The last couple of times they've been down this end, they haven't been able to finish off their sets. And 16-0, Melbourne Storm, if they're able to come up with a try, keep the Dogs at 16, well, they'll be quite happy with that. There's still plenty of time left in this half as Bromwich looks to offload and does.
Gives it to Hinchcliffe. It comes away to Chambers, who sizes them up and then just goes towards them. The Bulldogs at the moment, Storm should get a penalty here. Moses and by, he was ready for takeoff.
Just go to the side, mate. That's all he's got to do.
He was on the east-west runway. And as a result, Melbourne get a penalty. They've had only 29% of possession to this point in time.
And very few of it, very little of it has been at this end of the field. Let's see what they can come up with here.
Smith, their first chance, really inside the 20 with a full set as McLean go inside the 10. He'll be stopped there, tackled by Lane and Hodgkinson and also Lloyd Perrott. Here is Green holding it up, giving it to Hinchcliffe. 3 metres out from the Bulldogs line, the most pressure they've been under. Here's Hampton going and using his speed against the forwards. He got to the try line and maybe beyond. In fact, he has been held up in goal. And I'll have 2 more plays 10 metres out.
Just out there, Ben. Wait till I call time on, mate.
His speed has worried them.
Absolutely. Had Cassiano beaten on the inside, Tolman only just got to him to hold him up.
Green waiting out there on the left-hand side. Smith goes to him now. Great ball, and as a result, taken there by Sean Lane. There was a support player taken on suspicion outside Green. Hampton on the last. The kick towards the corner. Rona up against Kenner. That's a tough ass there for Richie Kenner. Up against Curtis Rona. You do well to outleap him. And the Bulldogs will get possession. They'll be set starting at their own 10. Watch it again.
Just a metre or two too wide from Ben Hampton then. Kenner really, even if he took that footy, there wasn't much chance of him getting it to the in-goal area. First real test on the Dogs' goal line.
Josh Morris up against Will Chambers, and there they are coming together. It'll be that way in Origin 3 as well, should they both get through this game without injury. And the moment I say that, Josh Morris slumps back to the ground. Hayden Tolman will play it just outside the 20. Cassiano, of course, Queensland naming their Origin team earlier this afternoon. Nice limping noticeably, of course, has already missed some time this season with a knee injury, and now a mistake by the Bulldogs. Sam Cassiano looking on in disbelief, and Melbourne get another chance.
Let's just have a look at Sam. He's got Tohu Harris underneath him and just makes the error. Drags the ball across Harris. And here's the injury to Morris. Just as he stepped back away from Will Chambers. Might have been an ankle, knee. He wants to keep going and try and run it out.
Ball out.
Gorobetti from the scrum win for Melbourne. They're 25 away. Looking for first point as the half-hour mark ticks by. Here's Hinchcliffe. He in calculation, should Robbie Farah be unable to take his place for New South Wales in Origin 3. Here's Green going to Chambers, who cut back to the left-hand side this time to put some pressure on Trent Hodgkinson. And they come to grips after the event as well. Bromwich stopping a good tackle there. Lloyd Perrott and also Michael Leisha. Now Green holding it up, giving it to Hinchcliffe. That was going nowhere in a hurry. Hampton did well to come up with possession. Rona jamming in from his wing, got there to make the tackle. They've got one more. Not much has happened so far in this, and it still hasn't. Smith's kick A ricochet picked up by Moses and Bai, and they work it away from their own goal line.
Well, the game started to turn towards the Melbourne Storm, who are getting some possession, and the last couple of sets have been inside the Bulldogs 20. It's the problem they had last week against the Brisbane Broncos. Plenty of ball inside the attacking zone, but just couldn't get themselves across the line.
Sam Perrott coming in for a scoot from dummy half. 3 tries if you've just joined us in the opening 13 minutes for the Bulldogs. With Morris, Sean Lane getting his first. Sam Perrott out wide as well. It's now 16-0 scoreline. Good hands there. Richie Kenner on the back pedal. The ball racing towards him across the top of the turf, and he picked it up cleanly as well, but he took a shot for his trouble from Josh Morris, and also Curtis Ryder. That knee looks to be okay for Josh Morris. Here's Munster. Corabetti. Certainly missed what he was doing earlier in the season when he's been out with that broken thumb. Beginning to the year he had. The tries he scored, whether it was from his own end, the length of the field jobs, or off kicks from Cooper Cronk, who is here tonight, but watching on from the coach's box, no doubt, once again. Munster back through the middle. Almost getting into the backfield right there as Hampton will put it in the air. Chambers coming through, looking to pressure Brent Morris. Curtis Ryder did some blocking. They say the blocking was okay. Dogs have it through Rona at their own 20. I mentioned the kickoff. They beat them 3 times, the Bulldogs, in 2014. And they're on track again to continue this run of success. Laffey just inside his own 40. Goes back through the middle, and Tim Brown is out there now as Des Hasler goes to his bench once again. Aidan Tolman is the player who's come from a little nick under the eye there as well. As they kick towards Kenner, and no surprise, there's been no kicks go towards Marika. He gets a chance though as they spread it inside their own 10 from the kick.
Well, any broken defensive line, he will take advantage of it. You spoke about what he'd done for the Melbourne Storm previous to that thumb injury. He'd been spectacular for a beatie and instrumental in the great start that the Melbourne Storm made to this season.
Another change as far as the forwards go. Felice Kafusi is out there now for Melbourne. 2-game losing streak, and they haven't lost 3 in a row since the 2012 season, a streak which coincidentally came with Billy Slater out of action at that time as well. Here's Smith going inside the Bulldogs 20 and getting a penalty.
On the last 2, Cameron Smith.
This is Latini, Michael.
Another golden opportunity for the Storm as we get closer to the half-time break to come up with something.
They need something, don't they? No Slater, no Cronk. They need to take something out of this first half. They've got plenty of chances in the last 10 minutes at this end of the field. Munster showing it, going to Moses and Bai. Brett Morris coming across. He makes the tackle. They're a metre away. Chambers goes back to Hinchcliffe on a great ball there. McLean will just take it forward as he runs towards Sean Lane. Boy, some size in that little meeting. Lloyd Perrott adds even more of it. Smith down the short side. Green, Harris jamming in with Sam Perrott. Harris standing there for an age, eventually taken to ground. Smith gets to dummy half on play 5. Here's Green. He'll grab it this time towards the uprights. Might have been thinking about trying to come up a bit of ball off the pad action. Didn't work out that way, and Mbai takes it out of play, and they get the 6 more tackles from the dropout anyway.
Their first of the night. Last week against the Brisbane Broncos, forced 11 line dropouts, the Melbourne Storm. And while the Bulldogs might have dominated the opening 15 or 20 minutes, it has swung around with Melbourne having all the field position and, in fact, quite comfortably ahead in terms of tackled inside the opposition 20.
Well, that is some sort of sight, isn't it? A packed grandstand. around about 18,000 or maybe just in excess tonight. It's amazing to think back as Jordan McLean brings this ball back. It runs towards Tim Brown, who stops him there cold at the 35-metre line. That in 1993, I was here that day as well. There were 27,800 people in this venue. Can you imagine another 10,000 people here? Here's Hinchcliffe. Hampton goes to Proctor. We'll work it down towards the corner. Some sort of day, the big multicultural day, 1993.
Wow. 27.
27,804 to be exact. As Smith goes to Green. Here is Sean Lane making a tackle with Hodkinson. They're 10 metres out. On the short side again, not much has been happening down that corridor. So it remains the same here for Harris. Smith gets a chance, shows it to Green. Hinchcliffe comes immediately to Proctor. He's got Chambers on his outside. He may not need him. Still going. Good tackle. Eastwood and Rona. They've saved some tries in this last 5 minutes on their own line. Hampton grubbering. Morris is there. Brett bringing it back. There'll be no repeat set like they had last week against the Broncos, where they had 11 goal line dropouts they forced.
Well, when Proctor got through Moses and By's tackle, it did look like that they were able to, they might have been able to jag a try. McLean going up the tunnel obviously continues with that hamstring that he's had issues with for most of the season, but Greg Eastwood, a show of strength to stop Proctor on the try line.
Here is Lloyd Perrin. That's a huge blow for Jordan McLean and the Melbourne Storm just before half-time. And you can only guess that it's a recurrence, as you say, Brandy, of that hamstring strain he's been battling now for a couple of months, really, a couple of stints on the sideline. The kick is a good one. And as it was for most of the opening 25 minutes, it'll be Melbourne working it away from deep inside their own territory.
Well, the Dogs have been asked some questions defensively. They've been good on their own goal line. They've defended there for the last 10 minutes. They get the ball up this end of the field, and they'd like to keep it until the break.
Melbourne in danger of being blanked here in this first half. It's a similar story in week one of the finals down there at Amy Park, when the Dogs really had limped into the final series. Their attack was faltering and not really anything going. They scored 24 unanswered points in the opening half before shutting out the Bulldogs to advance, as we know, all the way to the grand final.
Michael now to get.
Corabetti to play it at his own 30. Smith, dummy half, comes away to Kafusi, stopped there by Eastwood, but also Cassiano. 60 seconds. They need something here on this right edge. Proctor. Ball off Hampton, who was worried. The likes of Moses and By and Josh Morris at times. Strong tackle in the end, though, as they take him to ground heavily. Period underneath him. Smith at a dummy half. Hinchcliffe. Oh, Blake Green. Well, that is a penalty.
Then it comes off
Canterbury. If you're going to have a penalty for a forward pass, that was it right there.
Yeah, Ryan Hinchcliffe just getting it all wrong. Blake Green on his outside. Cameron Smith links with Hinchcliffe, and well, Green obviously thought he was going through as a decoy for Hinchcliffe, looking for the man out the back.
Here we go. Heads in.
Cooper Cronk was close to being right.
Here we go. Come on.
Played tonight. Heard Craig Bellamy in our pre-game show say
Ball.
just not confident enough to get him through the game tonight. Of course, he'll be right for Queensland for Origin 3. And just the news earlier today, Daly Terry Evans omitted from the 17, with Cooper Cronk returning. What a return this has been to Belmore, no less. The Bulldogs on top comfortably at the break. 16 points to nil. 3 barnstorming tries in the opening minutes of what has been a tremendous return to this famous venue. Downstairs to break we go.
You're here with Cameron Smith, the captain for the Melbourne Storm. Mate, you got blown off the park early, but you fought back well.
We have fought well in the last 20 minutes, Braith, but yeah, the first 20 was poor, mate. We knew they were going to come out fired up, being back at Belmore, and the attitude wasn't good enough particularly defence, mate. They just rolled through us and we got some cheap tries, but let's hope we can fight back.
Good luck in the second half, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Josh Morris, plenty to like about the first 40.
Definitely that first 20 was outstanding. Set a good platform. Probably lost some momentum there in that last 10 minutes, so we need to get that back straight away.
How's the knee?
Yeah, it's good. Just had a bit of a knee clash with Will there and just had to run it off.
That's good news for Josh Morris, and the Bulldogs and New South Wales are breaking back with more in this return to Belmore on Monday Night Football.
It's lights out and away we go.
Only Fox Sports brings you live coverage of every practice, qualifying and race. And we're ad break free from lights out to the checkered flag. Formula One, Fox Sports.
Introducing the new look Toyota Camry. Redesigned and better than ever. With the latest technology and safety features. And refined comfort throughout. It's made for the everyday hero. Starting from $28,990 drive away.
Last chance. Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance ends Tuesday. Last chance to save with late trading until 9 p.m. Tuesday. Last chance deals store-wide. Plus, last chance to buy on a massive 50 months interest-free. That's zero interest, no deposit with monthly payments until July 2019. But hurry, last chance. Buy now and save. The tax deadline is here. Hurry. With further price reductions store-wide and 50 months interest-free. Last chance. Do not miss out. Open late till 9 p.m. Tuesday at Harvey Norman.
Get more bang for your buck with Macca's $1.50 hot apple pie.
If your car got hit by hail, that could be 100% disastrous. So it's reassuring to know QBE Insurance is 100% committed to helping you. Call 133-QBE today.
You know that moment when your multi's going well and you just want the cash? Well, now you can have it. With Tabs Cash Out, you can eject on your multi. Join me before Monday Night Footy each week, where I'll be sharing a multi whose last leg begs the question: eject or let it ride? Will they cash out or not? I'll let you know if they did on the Matty John Show after the game.
Should have seen by the look in my eyes, baby, there was something missing.
You always remember your first Mazda 3?
I'm gonna keep on loving you.
And your first won't be your last.
Is it hard to show your real emotions when you're coaching?
I think they've got a specific camera just trained on my box the whole time.
In the box with Craig Weller, remember that? My debut in the box after about 30 seconds. He was punching me and kicking me. I thought, whoa, it's going to be a long season.
Half-time here on Toyota Monday Night Football, and the Bulldogs' effort, well, it is absolutely matching this game's nostalgia, both very, very high. A near-perfect first 20 minutes for the Belmore boys. 3 tries in just 13 minutes. Welcome back to you. Welcome back to Braith and Astor. Now, Braith, well, the effort from the Bulldogs expected, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And Kevin Smith just said that as I spoke to him as we were walking off. They were expecting an ambush, and they certainly got it. They just couldn't keep them away, really. The Bulldogs, the first 20 minutes, almost perfect. Hodgkinson was superb. The forwards were superb and really just dominated Melbourne. And Melbourne did well to hold on there in the back end of that half.
Yeah, absolutely. Greg Alexander wasn't going the way for the Storm in the first 30 minutes, but they started to pull it back in that last 10.
Yeah, they did. They started to swing things around. The Dogs made mistakes when they were in good field position a couple of times around that 20-minute mark, and then gave up the field position, and the Melbourne Storm were able to keep it down their end of the field for quite some time, and they've had more tackles inside the Dogs 20 than the Dogs have inside the Storm. But again, just lack of options with the football, with no Slater, no Cronk. they really needed to grab a try before half-time.
Yeah, let's have a look at the match stats, and you mentioned a couple of them there, Brandy, but possession early on in this game, non-existent for the Storm.
Yeah, well, the Bulldogs, when they got to this lead, had 73% possession. Now it's even up at the back end then, but as Brandy just said, Melbourne Storm haven't been able to take advantage of that. The completion rates are quite high for both teams there. It's been played mostly in the Melbourne Storm half, but as I said, line breaks there. Bulldogs, and this is where it started off, was Umbai there, Pep played down the left-hand side. Brandy spoke about it before the match. Brett Morris didn't take long for him to have an input on the match. 4 tries in only his 6th game of the season, so it was a good start from the Bulldogs.
And then Sean Lane, Brandy, a good young talent, isn't he?
Oh, fantastic young talent. How big is he? He's strong, he's mobile. Trent Hodkinson, Braith mentioned him. He's been terrific down that right side, really taking the metres on offer and going to the defence and really sucking them in and creating those chances for Lane, who then offloaded to the next one for Sam Perrott to get across the line. A little bit of doubt whether he still had his hand on the ball after the effort from Korobiti, but it was a red-hot start from the Dogs.
Yeah, it was a red-hot start. They lead 16 points to 0, unfortunately, for the Storm. They haven't got on the scoreboard, although Braith had been quite close, but I guess you've got to put it down to the Bulldogs' defence scrambling.
Yeah, the Bulldogs' defence has been superb. Storm have tried, and they've tried very hard. Hampton in particular, he's been quick. He got on the outside defenders, then nearly comes over to score the try now. He's looked most dangerous, and here it is again. Beats him with speed, goes and beats Cassiana, gets it on the inside of him and Tolman, and nearly gets over the try line. He's looked most dangerous at times. On other times, they look quite predictable. So I don't know how they're going to come up with their points with the Bulldogs defending as good as they are, but they need something and something special.
Throwing the ball around, chancing their arm, is that the way they're going to do it? The Stormers, we have a look at the score summary there. You can see it, 16 points to 0, unfortunately, for the Storm. They just can't get on the scoreboard. Yeah,
and they got some more possession, as I said, at the back end of that half, but they're going to their... We've seen Chambers actually go from the right-hand side over to the left-hand side, so they've got a few pet plays. They're trying to come up with some more points, and they're trying hard, but they just can't get them.
Well, they just can't get the points, but what about Dave Clemmer, Brandy? His ball returning tonight is absolutely flawless.
Well, he exploded right from the kickoff. His first run was good. That was his first one. Then off the back of the try, that was fantastic. It really did drag the crowd into this game. The atmosphere in the opening 20 minutes was unbelievable, with 18,000 people here, and it was Clemmer that got things started. Their big men were good. 10 runs for 120-odd metres in the first 25 minutes of play, and gee whiz, do you like the thought of him running like that for New South Wales next Wednesday night?
Brandy, yes, it's funny that you mentioned that, because New South Wales and his representation for the Blues has definitely lifted Clemmer's game.
Oh, it's amazing what the confidence does coming back from rep football like Clemmer. I mean, everyone's been talking about how good he was in Origin 2, how good his form is for the Bulldogs, and he's carried that on into tonight's game, especially with the captain Graham out as well. He's really stepped it up and he's led the way.
Should we expect the Bulldogs to come out in the second half and start the way that they did?
Well, that's what Desi Hasler will be hoping for, but Melbourne won't. I don't think they're going to get the position they had in that first half, so their defence is going to have to be as good as it was in the first, because Melbourne will throw everything at them.
Well, Melbourne are facing 3 straight losses, first time since 2012. Not the sort of situation Craig Bellamy wants to be in.
A lot of pressure on the Storm at the moment. It's actually unusual looking at the Storm team and seeing Cameron Smith out there by himself without usually Cronk or Slater, who normally come up with big plays at the right time, but the Doggies are the ones that are ahead at the moment.
Okay, straight after full time, it is Monday night with Matty Johns. Of course, you can join the boys on the couch as they wrap up round 16 in their humorous way, as they normally do. And Fletch and Hindy, no doubt, I think they're down in the nation's capital this week, protesting about rival Clode, the AFL. Now, ladies and gentlemen, coming up after the break, it is going to be an absolute cracker, because the Bulldogs, well, they have a huge advantage over the Melbourne Storm, but we know what the Melbourne Storm can do in terms of a comeback. Stay around, because we are back at Belmore straight after the break.
July on Fox Sports.
This is a game changer.
Doesn't get much better than that. You better believe it. This is incredible.
July on Fox Sports, Australia's sports leader.
It's Ladbrokes' legendary offer. Dragons versus Cowboys this Saturday. We're going overs on the Dragons at a massive $2. Ladbrokes. Bet better.
And so it begins. The daily battle of family life. A battle every parent must face. Day in, day out. Yet, in the midst of this endless chaos, heroes rise. And for these everyday heroes, there's the new look Camry for the everyday hero.
Indulge the minion in you at McDonald's with our delicious banana choc McFlurry in your Minions Quarter Pounder extra value meal. But only for a limited time.
Last chance. Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance ends Tuesday. Last chance to save with late trading until 9 p.m. Tuesday. Last chance deals store-wide. Plus, last chance to buy on a massive 50 months interest-free. That's zero interest, no deposit with monthly payments until July 2019. But hurry. Last chance. Buy now and save. The tax deadline is here. Hurry. With further price reductions store-wide and 50 months interest-free. Last chance. Do not miss out. Open late till 9 p.m. Tuesday at Harvey Norman.
In my hand are all the tools I will ever need to bet on live sport. I have the ability, the power to turn an ordinary game into an extraordinary game.
I am a member of the world's favorite online sports betting company.
I am a member of Bet365.
Gamble responsibly.
Tonight on the show, we're going to talk about the Maroons and their decision to drop Daly Cherry Evans. Now for the Blues, what are we going to do if there's no Farah or no Innes? Who do we put in the 9 jersey? And the prize fight of the century, David Klemmer versus Gordon Tallis. That's coming up.
Welcome back to Toyota Monday Night Football. The house full sign is up at Belmore Oval on an historic night on Fox Sports. At half-time, it is the Bulldogs 16, the Storm 0. From the dressing rooms, the Storm coach Craig Bellamy did his best to try and forget the opening 13 minutes, said he was happy with their response but not overly happy with their attacking shots on the try line. He said they were slow, they were one out and not thought out properly. He said that has to change. Jordan McLean, not a hamstring injury, fearing a knee injury, maybe even a medial ligament. No injuries for the Bulldogs, where Des Hasler said keep up the power game, keep it going through the middle. Defensively, he wants to shorten or condense the line to the middle of the field. He said, don't let the Storm go through us, but we're going to be happy to offer them the sidelines if they want to try and go around us on a surface this slippery. Such a ploy is flirting with danger. In fact, Braithen Auster is now standing by with Des Hasler.
Here with Canterbury Bulldogs coach Desi Hasler, almost the perfect first 20 minutes of football. Were you happy with the start?
Yeah, it was. We got away to a good start, and it's important that you do that against a side like Melbourne.
More importantly, the defence, the back end of that second half was sensational. More of that in the second?
Yeah, the try line was, was pretty good. We had to show a bit of desperation, but probably just that middle third, we let them get away. They've got they're tremendous with their ruck, their ruck speed and play the ball, so we really need to maintain that. That's when Smith gets out and it's pretty dangerous.
Nice, Desi. Good luck in the second half, mate.
Des Hasler joining us on Toyota Monday Night Football. Return to Belmore continues the second half in a moment. The home side up 16 points to nil. Ben Hampton has been the most dangerous player for the Melbourne Storm.
He has, just that speed and that ability to get in between defenders. He had the Dogs on the back foot a couple of times in that first half and was almost able to give the Melbourne Storm a try that they were desperately looking for at least 15 minutes in that first half. They parked themselves down the Dogs' end of the field.
The Josh Morris say as he went towards the dressing room at half-time that it was just a knee clash. It was his issue after hobbling around for a moment there towards the back end of the second half. That's good news, and he was able to quickly run it off. Now we headed towards the southern end. This famous venue in a moment. We'll see if they can supply the points for those fans who have crowded around that end of the sports ground. It's Hodkinson to get us back underway. Kickoff going down to Ben Hampton, who was on his bike to get across there and come up with the ball. And as a result, Kaufusi being driven back to almost the in-goal area. So the Bulldogs do that against the Dragons at ANZ Stadium. Help them come from behind in that performance. Not that performance. Wait and see how long we go in this second half before Josh Reynolds gets a chance.
Well, it doesn't matter who runs into Sam Cassiano. It's a mismatch weight-wise, and that's exactly what happened to Felice Kaufusi. Just came in field and ran into that man, Kaufusi, who monstered him 10 metres backwards. Good run from Hinchcliffe.
Been in good form too. Sam Cassiano, he can do some ball playing. We've seen him throw cutout balls. The tries for Curtis Rona. Morris brings it back. The play it here just outside the Bulldogs 30. So if the party continues on, it's a party for James Graham at the moment. Too far away from returning. Hamstring injuries kept him out for a number of weeks now. The Bulldogs have survived this little period through the Origin season, if you like, pretty well. They've won 3 of their past 4. Turned around a period there after they got off to a good start of the season where they were struggling through the likes of April and May. Back on track at the moment. As we hear tonight, Alan By showing it to Eastwood, going himself, and will play at about 15 out from the Melbourne Storm line. They've got one more tackle in this set. Hodkinson out there on the left-hand side now. Munster coming across on the greasy surface. He did the right thing and got to ground quickly. And Melbourne have it, but working it away from a corner against this Bulldogs forward pack. You've got to be courageous to put your hand up here for a carry. Harris comes in, and they're out after him as well. Brown was there. Eastwood, along with Curtis Rona as well. Corabetti puts his hand up, but Lane's got him. 4 tackles gone. They're 2 metres out from their own line. Kaufusi shows it. They need something. Grabbed there by Cassiano and also Leisha. Here's the last, and it's Will Chambers from dummy half. He gets a kick in, not a bad one, but Brett Morris takes it on the full and brings it back. And they'll have plenty of tackles here in Melbourne territory.
Didn't they muscle up there, the Dogs? 4 tackles, only 2 metres out from their own line, the Melbourne Storm, and the rush kick from Chambers. Got plenty onto it. Not a shocking result for them, but the Dogs back on the attack now through Brown.
Leisha waiting at dummy half. Flat maybe beyond and by, stopped by Proctor. He'll play it here just inside the 10. The scoring came in a rush at the beginning of the game. Melbourne did well to hold them out the remaining 20 minutes. Here's a ball back from Lloyd Perrott. Hodkinson comes off Blake Green, probably not played at. They're going to say, in fact, it was played at. 6 more tackles for the Bulldogs.
Well, I guess he was moving in to make a tackle. It's come off the hand, so I'm happy to go with the on-field referee's decision to give the Dogs another set.
Ball comes loose here. You heard the call of strip, and it's a penalty right in front of the post.
Back here, yeah.
We'll wait and see whether they take the 2 to make it 3 converted tries.
Boys,
Try and put more points on because well, there's been a plague of penalty goals taken by teams in 2015.
Sam!
At levels like we haven't seen for a long time. The Bulldogs have kicked just 1 penalty goal to this point of the season.
No, they're not a 2-point team, the Dogs.
Brown to play at a couple of metres out. They're going for 4, if not 6. Leisha it is. We're thinking back to when they took that penalty goal. It was against Canberra. They almost lost that game as the Raiders came storming back. Cassiano. Brown showing it. And towards Bulldogs. Hinchcliffe and Bromwich for Lise Kafusi. Well, that was a penalty for your life. In front of the uprights again as he swung him to ground. Here's Leisha. Hodkinson goes to Lafai Marika. He was zeroing in and got his target squarely. Leisha again from dummy half. Goes to Lloyd Perrott. He's gone close a couple of times now. Stopped here by Corabetti, who was still in there along with Kafusi. Here is by grubbering. Richie Kenner can't pick it up. Curtis Rona can. 6 more tackles for the Bulldogs. The pressure continues. Sam Cassiano from dummy half. A rainbow ball for Josh Morris, who joins his brother on the try-scoring list.
An almost impossible pick up there for Richie Kenner or Will Chambers. One of the Melbourne Storm outside men attacked that grubber kick from Moses Mbai, and there it is. It's Richie Kenner. Just tried to half volley it. The ball was travelling. Curtis Rona picks it up, and then Sam Cassiano. That's brilliant. That is brilliant from Big Sam. Just flops it over the top. That's all he needed to do. He knew where the space was. Melbourne Storm came in, and it's not the first time he's thrown a pass like that this year, where he's picked out the outside man with precision.
Josh Morris looking towards him saying, Sam, what a gift. Nobody in front of him. Kenner scrambling in to try and come up with the grubber and make it 20 points to 0. Well, Burwood Road and the shops through the middle of Belmore here were abuzz this afternoon, as you would understand. They might just have a street party with this return to Belmore tonight. They might have to block it off at either end of the shops and just let them go crazy. It'll be like a grand final celebration.
Yeah, like they did back in the 80s and the 90s with their grand final wins. Just closed down the whole area. With 6 to go call. Well, 2 6 to goes. With the kick from Mbai and Kenner not being able to pick it up. That was on the back of a 6 to go. So plenty of possession on the Melbourne Storm line.
All of Hodkinson's kicks have gone out wide tonight. This one trying to fade it back. It'll stay just outside the left-hand upright. 20 points to 0, Braith. It is very much one-way traffic.
It certainly is, and a perfect start of the second half from the Bulldogs. What about Sam Cassiano for a front rower? That's his 3rd try assist of the season. It's one thing to have the vision like he does as a front rower, but the execution to throw that pass from Morris was absolutely superb.
Well, he showed some skill right there. Show some motor. He gets a chance here off the restart. Go to the other side of the field. He was waiting over there on the left edge. It comes to Tim Brown. With a fair impersonation there of David Clemmer to bring it beyond the 20 on play number 1. Too far away from seeing the tear away himself back out there. Here's Sean Lane, one of the 4 try scorers tonight. Well, you remember his first try in the NRL, won't he? I ask him, like you were asked tonight, about your first try in your first game at Belmore. Asking grandkids on his knee in the future. The ball came off Chris James there, the referee. The Bulldogs have ended up with possession.
Not when it touched the referee, it was a scrum. Anyway.
Team in the attacking half, which in that situation would have been Melbourne. Let's play on. Here's Leisha. Goes to Hodkinson. Will kick it down the short side. Looking for the line. It'll sit up for Munster to keep it in play. Tough not to be throwing a long pass to Richie Kenner. He thought better of it. Then again, get hit by a wall of blue and white. Perhaps the better option might have been to throw the ball to the winger. Corabetti stopped there and a good tackle. There was Trent Hodkinson as well. Going sideways, and 3 plays are gone. They're battling again to work it away from their 20 as Chambers. So going at least in the right direction. We'll play it here for Smith. Jesse Bromwich pops the ball out the back. Smith quickly goes to Chambers. Kenner is out there. outside of Josh Morris. He goes towards Curtis Rona. He sticks, whether it's catching the ball or making tackles, Curtis Rona. Standing defensively tonight.
There are a couple of good plays there to get Melbourne out of trouble. They're under pressure again. 3 tackles still well inside their 20 as Morris takes it comfortably. And as well tackled there, Munster, his opposite number, doing the job along with Proctor.
Here is Rona. They're up their line pretty quickly there, Melbourne. The message might have gone out. We need a lot of line speed if there to be any chance of dragging ourselves back into this contest. But Greg Eastwood with runs like that, he's slow off the ground here. He might have copped one on the way down for his trouble. He says that's 2. It's Ben Hampton will jump and grab around the chin there. And he was appealing for a penalty pretty quickly. Wait and see what the video referee makes of this.
Tackle 3.
Tougher on tackles like that in recent times. It was beginning of the season. That would have comfortably been a penalty, but
yeah,
they've recalibrated.
He wasn't on the ground there because of the tap across the chops, was he? Or was he laying prone? He stayed pretty straight. I thought he might have hurt an ankle or something. But anyway, the right decision was made and no penalty was given. But then
Behind
the Storm
me, Michael. Behind me here.
Give one away the next tackle.
Yeah.
I guess the Bulldogs were safe. A bit of justice done right there as Hodgkinson finds the line. That hill, sea of blue and white. The response is always going to be this way. Of course, the Dogs are back here on July 26 as they celebrate 80 years of first-grade rugby league at Belmore. They take on the Sharks. Sunday afternoon game. Second game at Belmore. Just in a month's time as Leisha goes to him by out the back. Here is Brett Morris. Brother Josh on his outside. He was trying to link up with him. Ball came loose in the tackle. Richie Kenner has it there for Melbourne.
I think he was pretty frustrated there, Brett Morris, on the fact that he made the error. He was going for the one-on-one strip and just couldn't help himself. Carried it on too far.
The kick for line is a good one. Forward here through Bromwich.
Lloyd, you got to go, Lloyd, up you get.
A little bit of firepower in the middle of the field. Jordan McLean and this Bulldogs forward pack just keep getting bigger the more you go to the bench. It's a tough ask. Here's Green. Out the back from Munster. Coming in quickly. Tim Laffey. Got a hair out of place once again tonight. That cement-like gel that he uses. Marking his own brand. Will be a big seller out this way at this point in time. Proctor down on the right-hand side. Chambers will play it in. Did he lose the ball? Yes, he did. Just a little bobble as he went to ground. Pressure relieved, the Bulldogs will have it, having advanced the scoreline through the try of Josh Morris in this second half. After a 16-0 scoreline became 20 for his 4-pointer, and they're watching down to the southern end there from every vantage point. Back up the cement truck. The labourers jump on top of the truck and have a bit of a look.
Because that couldn't have happened in the past when they were back here before, because there was a, oh, they're up in the tree, because there was a canopy over the top of the southern end.
That's right.
Even though it wasn't a stand, there was just room to stand there. But there's some vantage points that those that can't get into the ground have taken up.
And of course, if you can't see over the fence, you can watch it live on Foxtel Go on your mobile phone as well. It's a tremendous way to keep abreast of the action if you're not out on the ground and you're out somewhere in front of a TV.
It's brilliant. Watch it anyway.
Here is Aidan Tolman working it forward for the Bulldogs. Here's Leisha. He's doing by. Great ball there. Good hands from Brett Morris, and then was taken to ground. He reacted to the tackle from Will Chambers. The crowd over there on the hill. There's no whistle. Now Eastwood working it up. Dale Finucane. Return to the place where he trained at, playing at for a couple of years for the Bulldogs. For a better homecoming tonight. Leisha goes to Hodkinson, who puts it high in the air. Munster underneath it. Take the catch pretty comfortably inside his own 10. See if they muscle up again, and difficult for the Storm to work it away from inside their own 20.
Well, gee, because that was a slow set from the Dogs. The Storm got away with just holding down as long as possible. Let's go back to releasing immediately when you get them on the ground and not just peeling off.
Maybe 20 points to nil. Things have just eased off that interpretation. Chance out wide. And Bromwich is out there now, but his first carry, he was taking the ground pretty heavily. And Moses and by good tackles. Now Jesse Bromwich has it 40 metres out from the Bulldogs line. Last play here. Smith goes to Green. And the high ball is the option once more. Corabetti coming down. Parrott was there. And floating back with him, Tim Laffey. Did everything but cuddle Sam Parrott and the Melbourne Storm players as they chase through. And Parrott made the catch. They have it at their own 10. There is Sam Parrott, one of those 4 try scorers. Gets off a lovely movement on the right-hand side. Likewise, Sean Lane before him. It's a blistering opening. Lloyd Parrott playing. There's Aidan Tolman. David Clemmer is back out there. He was like Jeff Robinson without the hair. Think of the old days, the 80s here at Belmore. Ripping and tearing, working it back from kickoffs. He had plenty of practice with those tries they scored in the opening minutes as well. He's there to help make a tackle here on Richie Keno with Moses and by. Corabetti punch his way through the middle of the field. Stopped by Lane and also Hodkinson. You wonder, after struggling for points last week against the Brisbane Broncos, all the possession they had, you just wonder how they're going to score here tonight.
No, that was going to be the real issue for the Melbourne Storm, as Green, we thought a lot of the responsibility would fall on his shoulders. Plenty of tackles and plenty of possession at the back end of that first half, and weren't able to come up with anything. No real chances yet in the second half.
Cameron Smith to Hampton going to the line. They keep it in their hands. Will Chambers is stopped. They'll take him out of play. Nothing working for Melbourne. And the Bulldogs have had their number from sideline to sideline.
Hand over, Jets.
An impressive display. Fired up for the return, and what a tackle. Josh Morris. Curtis Rona again, and Chambers was going nowhere.
They gave up a couple of support plays there and double-teamed Chambers. Rona coming in and assisting Morris just to shut it down and get him across the sideline. Here's the wrecking ball, or the first half wrecking ball. Dave Clemmer. Need a little bit more of it at the moment.
See if they can find top gear again after perhaps a sliding back into an arm wrestle. So it's extending the lead in the 46th minute, and Josh Morris scored 10 ago. Lane to play. Tolman working it forward, getting through his usual amount of work once again. 19 tackles, 16 carries though with the ball. There's Clemmer doing some ball playing and by. Pritchard doing likewise. Josh Morris comes back to Moses and by, and then pushing across. Tim Glasby is there to make the tackle for Melbourne. Rona to Hodkinson, who puts it up. No chase there. They lost their way at the back end of that set, and luckily for them, it just bounces into touch. But there wasn't much happening at that back end after that little raid down the left-hand side. Look at this
massive crowd, isn't it? Just on 17,000 here at Belmore. Well, the hill's fantastic. It's an enormous hill here at Belmore Oval. And I guess with, just on 17,000 here, there's no one at the northern end. There's very few at the southern end. It goes to show how big this stand is too at Belmore. It must fit close to 9 or 10,000 in it.
9,000 just over the number of seats from the back of the grandstand to the fence line here on this western side. It's a huge amphitheatre. The joint was rocking early on, wasn't it? The old roof, a little rusting in past, but it was reverberating. chant has gone up for Nukin to play it. Here is Smith out of dummy half. Now Green putting a kick in. Corabetti out wide. Waited for it. Taken the ground there by Sam Perrott. Taking the touch, or was he? Touch judge says no. Harris working it back towards the middle. Goes past Eastwood, but can't evade the clutches there of Tolman. Hurt himself as well going to ground. Rather Ginger getting back up. Now Hampton. Big rubbers. Brett Morris wanted to continue rolling. It
20.
does. And they'll bring it back to the 20.
There's Corabetti under the, well, there it is. Unsighted. Sam Perrott dragged that foot over the touchline or onto the touchline, and the touch judge just couldn't sight it, or didn't sight it. A clever play that almost came off the kick across field from Blake Broom. Fell into the lap of Corabetti, but Perrott was there to close it down.
Well, they are on their feet as one here. What a reception, because the Bulldogs bench stood and turned around to the crowd and applauded the chant coming from this Western grandstand at Belmore. Like a Premier League game in the north of England somewhere. Here is Hodkinson. Coming to Lane. Look at him go! Out the back. Clemmer can't come up with it.
No, not on this.
And what a combination they're going to be. Sean Lane and David Clemmer.
Isn't he a size and mobile, cutting back on the inside off the Trent Hodkinson pass, and gee, they've worked well together. Hodkinson and Lane flicks it out the back. Well, that's a tough take for big Dave Clemmer. Caught one across the back of the head as he hit the ground there. What a likely type Sean Lane is.
Wait till the out. Okay, Cameron.
It was a quick apprenticeship on the bench, and that's where Josh Reynolds still is. The hour mark ticking by. Here they are. They lead the Melbourne Storm 20 points to 0, and Josh Reynolds can't crack it for a start. Sort of lineup they've got at the moment, and the luxury of riches. There's Hasler's disposal. Here it's Green getting it away. Highmore Hunt under pressure. Did well in the end. They give the Corabetti, who again goes down the sideline. This time they'll play it inside the chalk, well away from it at least, as Munster goes to Harris. There's Green. Asby brings it back to the halfway line. A Smith goes to dummy half. Green with some room to move here. No speed there in the Bulldogs line. Munster, as a result, bent away from Moses and by. Josh Morris holds him up. So does the 5'8". Taking the ground, 30 out from the Dogs line. Smith goes to Hampton, who was taken as he kicked. Wait and see if there's any call on that play. Sam Perrott can't come up with it. Still the last. Tim Glasby setting sail for the line. Came to Rona. Can't get it away. They'll say no touch from the Bulldogs.
Changeover.
And a changeover right there.
Well, you'd think that it's going to be something like that if the Melbourne Storm are going to come up with a try. The unusual, and the Melbourne Storm taking the bomb, the offload back on the inside. Glasby almost getting himself to the try line. Tohu Harris did the work, putting that ball in the air, and then Glasby breaking tackles, getting close, just couldn't find any support.
Morris playing it from most and by for Pritchard. The thick of things in that opening 15 minutes when it was all happening. Here's Clemmer. Back in behind the play, the ball still pumping the legs. Cameron Smith coming to grips with him. Now Hodkinson goes away to Eastwood. So much hype about this game and the return to Belmore, and lived up to everything. It's exceeded expectations, really. A massive success in every way, and the roar goes up because guess who is on his feet and about to enter the game?
Well, they love him, don't they? The Dogs fans. He's a crowd favourite. The halves puzzle that Desi's wrestling with at the moment sees Josh Reynolds as the man that will sit on the bench and at some stage make his way onto the field. He might be warming up. I don't know if he's any closer to getting on, though.
He's got his own entry music. He'll come down a ramp with lights flashing. I don't know if I've ever seen a reception for a bench player rising to his feet like Josh Reynolds just received. Boy, some sort of scenes here at full time. This game edging towards it, but Reynolds will finally get his chance. He's got the interchange card in hand. Smith from dummy half for Melbourne. What an intimidating atmosphere it is. Corabetti's not worried. He goes towards Brett Morris. He flings the ball back in play. Play on for Harris to pick it up. And then Eastwood takes him to the chalk. Play on again. Munster has it. And though he stopped 25 metres out from the Bulldogs line.
Well, he was happy with both those to touch. He looked like Tohu Harris had gone across the sideline before he got rid of it, but play on, and the Melbourne Storm get a penalty.
Finucane. Love to grab one. He's just inside the 10. Smith waiting. Munster out the back. Green was flat and wide on the right edge. Here's Hampton holding it up off the hands of Rona. Doesn't catch that one. Boy, you don't see that too often. The ball hits Curtis Rona. He doesn't come up with a catch. Saved perhaps a try. Kennar waiting on his outside. And Melbourne will get the scrum feed 10 metres out.
That was a good play. They put Corabiti down this left touch line. Morris with a brilliant tackle. It looked like took him across the line, but he was able to flick it back in.
Come on, here we go. Hang on, Ben.
Got him back for the run home, Melbourne. They are sliding down the table. Staring at 3 straight losses. For this game in 6th position, Blake Green has the ball stripped away from him. Corabiti has it. It is play on. Sale was just lost backwards without help from the Bulldogs. This is play 2. Ivan Hunt has barely had a chance with the ball tonight. That's carry number 5 for the game. Here's Green going to Glasby, coming down Main Street. Up there by Leisha and Eastwood downstairs. The right-hand side it goes. Here's Hampton. Ball there for Kenny Bromwich. Nothing doing there in the tackle of Mbai and also Josh Morris. They've used up 4. Jesse Bromwich take a carry. Nothing doing there either for the taller of the two. They'll head back to Hampton once again. Last play, a grabber. What hands by Trent Hodkinson. Boy, he's having quite a game, isn't he?
He made a great start to the game and really has linked well on that right-hand side. His kicking game has been strong. That was a nothing set there from the Storm as Clemmer winds up again.
It's Trent Hodkinson as Clemmer plays the ball. He's going to come from the field. He high-fives Josh Reynolds. He gets a standing ovation from this full house at Belmore. He's had to wait 66 minutes, but here he is with the ball in his hands. He'll produce
if
something.
If he can do something special, this crowd will erupt.
Here's Laffey. He won't die wondering. We know that much. Here's Leisha going to Josh Reynolds, who'll grab her. He'll chase it through and try and force something. The ball will beat everybody touching goal. And Melbourne will have it. A 7 tackle set from their own 20. Trent Hodkinson, his night and his work is over. His next appearance will be for New South Wales in Game 3 at Suncorp next week.
Well, that's as good as he's played for quite some time, Trent Hodkinson. That's as confident as he's looked. He's carried a knee injury for most of the year. But his work at getting to the Melbourne Storm defence and creating some space for his outside men, in particular Sean Lane, has been first-rate tonight.
Here's Green. Going to Harris. Good tackle. Reynolds underneath. Lane over the top. They're on their feet again. Munster. Felice Kafusi. Known for his leg drive and what he can do, but boy, blue and white tsunami they faced here tonight. Good ball there from Munster. Across to Highmore Hunt. Picked up by Corabetti. That was clever. Harris comes up with it. Josh Morris was there, wasn't it? Brett Morris pushing up his right-hand side. Josh Reynolds was off before acceptances. He went to the open side thinking the ball was going to the first receiver for a kick. Went the other way, and now Mosenby brings it back. And Kenny Bromwich grudges him. You weren't part of the chant that went up, you old Bulldog, were you, Braith?
No, the chant's definitely going up for Reynolds down here, but I agree with Brandy. Hodgson's been superb tonight. Laurie Dale will be certainly be happy with that. He's in good form. It's probably his best match of the season, and to take that into Origin 3, the decider, I'll be happy with that.
There's been a couple of pleasing performances in terms of New South Wales, like David Clement. What he did in Origin 2, and then to produce this in the lead up to Origin 3 must make Laurie Daly feel good.
Kick it from their own end here as Alicia waits at dummy half. His service has been good again tonight. Reynolds from just outside the 40 goes down the middle of the park. Munster picks it up. Corabetti's had plenty of action. It's a little tight as he brings it back on this run, but he can always find something. He just about gets away from Michael Alicia. There is James. Just makes things happen. Marika Corabetti. Smith. Comes to Finucane. See Bromwich putting a little step on. Back up there by Sean Lane. The tall men coming together. Smith for Finucane. Still working through the middle. Chance here on play 5. Smith coming out to Blake Green. Scoring tries in doubles. Hasn't gone close tonight. Short ball there for Kenny Bromwich. He was well handled. Green once more off the outside of the boot. Brett Morris coming across under pressure there from Cameron Smith. They'll wrap him up and earn themselves a goal line dropout.
Well, it was a good set from the Storm. They work the Dogs into a position and then get it in the... Cameron Smith, he just continues to ask questions. Morris down on his haunches there after collecting that ball and then getting hit by a couple of the Melbourne Storm chase.
The old grandstand. Let's take a look at what the Bulldogs have in the weeks ahead. Both them and the Melbourne Storm have the bye ahead of Origin 3. Then off the back of it, the Broncos, the Eels and the Sharks over the next 4 weeks. The Bulldogs, what a game that'll be. Dogs and the Broncos. ANZ Stadium. You see that game live on Fox Sports. It's one of our Wild Turkey Bourbon Super Saturday coverage as Smith goes across to Green. Back on the inside for Kafusi. Up there by Tolman and that man Reynolds. 10 metres away. Goes to Finucane. And towards Clemmer and Leisha. Boy, they'd love a shutout here, wouldn't they? This return to Belmore. They're 8.5 minutes away from doing it. They're under pressure now, though. Kafusi goes to Hampton. He shows it. Pritchard not falling for a dummy. They're swinging the ground as well, and then Hampton's lost the ball here. It'll be a knock-on against the rookie halfback. The Dogs are intent on defending their line.
Well, little man into a massive man, and Frank Pritchard stopped him in his tracks, Ben Hampton, and then just slung him around. Ball comes free. Ben Hampton shocked that a penalty wasn't coming his way, but
take a look. Melbourne Storm waiting to form this scrum with the Bulldogs wrestling cage in the background. The one addition from the old days here at Belmore Oval. The bye next week. The Warriors, the Panthers and the Dragons ahead. Game against the Dragons, of course, at Napier. We'll be over there bringing you that game live on July 25.
Kenny, together, Kenny.
It'll be a big occasion on the east coast of the North Island, the Hawke's Bay region. Lovely lines over there, Brandon. It's a pretty good golf courses as well.
You'll enjoy yourself, was I'm sure.
You know me too well. Here is Pritchard. Looking beyond the 30. You're not coming over for that one?
Can't make that one.
Missing out on a real treat. Take some photos for you. Here's Clemmer coming out of the line quickly there. Nelson Nukin was looking for a shot. Another player just short of the 40. Here's Cassiano. They're just waiting. A sense of anticipation about Reynolds producing something here. The kick. Moses and By going down the left edge of the field. Munster coming up with it. Staffing his own goal line. He runs back towards By and also Josh Morris. And they've got him pegged there. 10 out from his own line. Plenty of this in the opening to the game, the Melbourne Storm. But interestingly, at half-time, and even now, they've had far more chances inside the opposition 20 than the Bulldogs have had. The Storm have had 29 plays inside the 20. The Dogs have had just 19, but here it is. It's 20 points to nil.
Yeah, look, it's a massive concern for them. They will get Cronk back in after Origin, but without Billy Slater, they're just the options that they have with the football are just reduced dramatically. And it's a remarkable stat that out of the last 20 games they've played without Billy Slater, their points average goes, well, it halves from 24 to 12 per game.
Understandably so. What he brings to the table, whether it's with the ball or the threat he poses out the back of the block plays as they run. They've hit a wall as far as point scoring over the last few weeks, given all the possession they had against the Broncos. Runner to play it. Here is Sam Perrott. They really haven't had much of a chance in attack for Reynolds to show what he can do after waiting 66 minutes before getting a chance tonight. Tolman back towards the 40. Just a yardage set, as the coaches call it. Reynolds a kick from inside the 40, and again towards the sideline. Munster going back for it. Reynolds will lead the chase. Pass across the field. We've got 17,000 touch judges who all have ruled that one forward. They've got away with one right there. Cameron Munster and the Melbourne Storm. It'll matter not the wash up here with 4.5 minutes remaining. Would have liked at least one more Bulldogs raid from close range, a full set. They might still get one. Here is Bromwich. Jesse giving it to Felice Kafusi. Another borderline pass just then. He'll play it. Smith coming to Green. Chip over the top. Corabetti the target once again. Good bounce for him as well. Brett Morris coming across. Saves the day. He's worn a shot for his trouble, though. Maybe just winded. They'll certainly be hoping.
Well, it was a collision, wasn't it, between Corabetti, who picked up a perfectly weighted kick there, bounced beautifully for him, did a great job to get around Sam Perrott, and then just dropped the shoulder as Morris arrived. I think it just took the wind out of him.
I think that's all that it is. After his work here tonight, it's a standing ovation from the crowd here. This grandstand on the western side of Belmore Oval. Well, it's been some sort of night. We'll wait and see what sort of crowd they get for that game against the Sharks. But you'd imagine a full house again on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, they'll fill it. They'll fill it after tonight's experience. They'll be back for more, the Bulldogs fans, and the way that the Dogs have travelled over the last month, I guess they can sense something starting to happen to their season. They've won 3 out of their last 4. Now this will make it 4 out of their last 5. They're on a roll, and if they're still winning come that Sunday afternoon, and those vantage points, the houses, the trees, the roofs, they'll be full.
Just like the old days in the 80s. They and the Eels. Remembering, of course, the Eels played here for 4 seasons from 82 to 85. While Parramatta Stadium was being built. They won the premiership in 81. Something about this turf at Belmore. Teams have played here, won premierships. Ball goes up for Munster. Reynolds coming through. Is there to put a shot on him? Looking for a chance to roar their lungs once again as Brett Morris comes up one-on-one and makes the tackle there on Cameron Munster. This victory, speaking of the Sharks, in that game on July 26th, will move the Bulldogs back in front of the Sharks, who will slide from 8th to 9th after their heroics up there in Townsville. Saturday night, coming from 18 points down. Scored 24 unanswered points in the second half to get the cash against the Cowboys.
Sam, up, Sam.
Green playing at Smith. To Jesse Bromwich. Work it up towards Clemmer. You can hear Chris James saying to Ben Cummins, his co-referee. I thought there was some high contact there in the tackle on Jesse Bromwich. This will be the third time, if they can hang on to this 0 scoreline, that the Bulldogs have shut out the Melbourne Storm.
It's quite a record they've got against them, isn't it? This will make it the last 5 outings have all been Bulldog wins. Blake Green dances and really goes nowhere.
Also be the 6th time in Melbourne's history they've been held to nil. We can do something about that right now. They might have the last say, in fact, as Bromwich will play it here. A metre out from the line. Smith feeds it for Green. It goes to Finucane. They're desperate to keep them out. Great tackle, Pritchard and Clemmer. Smith passes Kafusi. Green, quick hands. It goes past Hunt. Corabetti! He'll spoil the party in some way. He dives in to score, and they had to wait almost 79 minutes to put points on the board.
Well, I don't think there's a Melbourne Storm player that deserves to score a try. And more than Marika Corabetti after his second half performance. Didn't get much ball in the first half, but has run himself ragged in this second half. Done plenty of good things down this left-hand side. And Heimel Hunt wisely pulled his hands out of the road, and the bounce favoured Corabetti. And he comes up with a try in his return game, but has done a mountain of work down that side of the field. And they certainly welcome him back into the lineup.
That they do. They need him. They need Cooper Cronk back. A couple of forwards as well. Wouldn't go astray. We'll wait for news in the days ahead on Jordan McLean. Could do with some size, couldn't they, this Storm forward pack? Out wide, they've got a beauty. And Marika Corabetti and James Graham, speaking of forwards returning, getting close to coming back himself. Greg Eastwood gets a little eye inspection from the Englishman. Josh Jackson, of course, sitting out tonight with his suspension. Will be back in New South Wales next week in Origin 3. And they are well positioned back inside the top 8 now, the Bulldogs, ready to make a charge towards the finals in 2015. Cameron Smith. Knew it was going to be tough. So they were ready for an ambush, and they weren't disappointed. The Dogs supplied it in no uncertain terms. It'll miss to the left-hand side. It's a tough night for Melbourne here this evening. The Bulldogs and the return to Belmore have celebrated in the biggest way possible a win against the Storm, 20 points to 4. What scenes we've been privileged to enjoy tonight. The sounds of the chants going up from the hill and the grandstand as well. People perched in trees and houses and trucks outside the southern fence as well. And it's been quite a night for rugby league in Sydney. What a return to the suburbs it has been. Big crowd at Leichhardt yesterday, followed up by a full house here at Belmore tonight. I'm sure the scenes back in the main street and also the Leagues Club in a short while will be something to enjoy as well. 4 try scorers. The Morris brothers both getting across the stripe. Sean Lane and Sam Perrott also scoring. And I'll hope that their Origin contingent can make it through Origin 3 with no injuries, Trent Hodkinson included. And they're back for a push towards the finals. Might be time to take you to the Clive Churchill studio. The boys will be a lot to talk about tonight off the back of what we've seen here. Here is Monday Night with Matty Johns.
Yeah, thanks, Woz. Tonight on the show, we're going to talk about no Daly Cherry Evans for Queensland. We're going to talk about this situation with Mick Innes and Robbie Farrell.